There was a time when the loudest place in America wasn't a concert. It was the mall arcade. Early 80s, fluorescent lights, CRT glow, quarters stacked on cabinets, denim jackets, band patches, long hair under buzzing monitors. Before the internet, before streaming, before headsets. The arcade was where hard rock and metal kids gathered, even when the machines weren't playing metal, and somehow it still felt like metal. Walk into an arcade in 1981. You hear the attract loop of Defender, the digitized chaos of Berserk, the explosions and asteroids, the laser blasts of Galaga. Not metal, but aggressive, fast, relentless. At the same time, bands like Black Sabbath, pushing volume, speed, and precision. Both rewarded obsession, both demanded reflexes, both had parents overwhelmed and confused. The early 80s mall wasn't neutral territory. Jocks, new wave kids, future punks, metalheads. But inside the arcade, skill leveled everything. Nobody cared about your back patch if your initials were at the top of Tempest. The arcade didn't care who you were. It cared how good you were. That competitive territorial energy, that's heavy metal. Rebellion through mastery. For example, look at early cabinet art. Robotron 2084, Dystopian Annihilation, Defender, Chrome Sci-Fi Warfare, Tempest, Neon Apocalypse, exploding typography, skulls, lasers, end of the world aesthetics. Swap the logo and half these cabinets could have been metal album covers. Even when the arcades weren't intentionally metal, they felt metal. Dark rooms, flashing lights, total sensory overload. It's basically a 13-year-old's arena show. The metal of the 1980s worshipped gear, stacks, pedals, pointed guitars, technical precision. Arcades worship machinery too. CRT glow, circuit boards, synth chips screaming through tiny speakers. Parents heard noise, kids heard the precision, timing, speed, control. Thrash metal would explode later, but the reflex culture was already there. By the time games like Guitar Hero showed up decades later, the connection looked obvious. But that wasn't the origin. The real crossover wasn't licensed soundtracks. It was cultural. Metal kids hung out in the arcades. Mastery, volume, becoming untouchable through skill. The arcade was analog metal culture's first digital arena. The early 80s arcade didn't blast heavy metal, but it felt like heavy metal. Loud, mechanical, competitive, slightly dangerous. Before online forums, before multiplayer servers, before algorithms. There was the mall. There was the arcade. There was the tape deck at home. And somewhere between distortion and circuitry, a generation learned that noise, when controlled, becomes power.
I want to somehow communicate a message to my audience.